to this section about the guards now. Tell me which ones were the worst, where they were, in which prison. You mentioned the surname Kotov.
Yes, he is a real asshole, just an asshole. An evil dwarf. He's about over 1.5 meters. He's so short. We were constantly on our hands and knees. In this position, I could only see his shoes and only hear him. You wouldn't say by his voice that he is that short. 2 guards who modified their voices, adding bass and changing it. You could hear it in one way, and then it's different. 2 morons, and then I don't remember. I think we were on the roof and we're getting food. I just looked at his shoes and I realized it's him. And he's like this to me. Just like this.
Did you see his face?
Yeah. During the time we were working there, I saw a lot of them. I saw the head of the detention center. I saw his deputy, the Scar. There was a big guy, real megalodon. He was a huge brute. And he'd just slap with the palm of his hand. He'd hit them so hard. Oh my gosh. When he was doing an inspection. There were moments when someone really needed some medicine. And this person would ask. Because there was an elderly man. He had heart problems. His blood pressure was always high. And he asked. And on a big guy shift, you couldn't ask. He didn't even let the doctors write anything down, and he treated people only with a slap of the palm. And I saw a lot of guards.
Let's go back to Kotov. What did he do that was so bad?
He just hated us. He didn't have any orders. He just hated us. He tried, and as hard as he could. They have no right to just open the door without reason and beat us up. There has to be a reason for that, a suspicion of something. And he himself can't do that either. It has to be the special forces with him. And he did a lot of things for that. He used to slip us all sorts of bands, a blade, a nail, a rag, a lot of things. And when he couldn't do it, we called him a coach. An hour of physical torment. It was push-ups. And it wasn't like you did 3 push-ups because you couldn't. You just stopped doing them because you don't have strength. That was the reason. If you couldn't do them, if you fell down, the door would open and you'd get beaten. And they really went at it. We jumped. There was no strength. It's not that I couldn't. I didn't want to. We tried to do it ourselves. But you couldn't do it yourself if they saw you doing something. No. The first 1.5 years, we stood for 16 hours a day on our feet, breakfast, 3 to 5 minutes. And that's it. We tried to do something on our own. There were dead zones. And we tried to keep ourselves in shape. But it was our initiative. And this guy was just torturing us. Squats, jumps, lunges, push-ups.
Why do you think? Does he hate Ukrainians?
Most likely, that's exactly it, that he has some kind of attitude toward us. He was talking something about World War II, some facts like all of them do on World War II topic. They said that they won it themselves. There were no Ukrainians there. Victory is undoubtedly theirs. About the history. Like Ukraine is Russia. What Russia? Where was Russia 1,000 years ago? It wasn't there. And they still use propaganda cliches.
Who else? Ska. What's he known for?
This is probably the most treacherous person. He was present when I asked a question to the people who came from a Red Cross. It was him, the one who ordered beatings. Then he said, Ivarlak, it's all your fault. It's your fault. He forced the guys. All 7 people in my cell when we got beaten up to say, we're getting beaten up. But now we thank Ivarlak. That's me, he said. If he hadn't opened his mouth, nothing would have happened. However, let's say I wasn't the only one who asked. Oh, well, this wooden tablet for beating us is his idea. And Shoker, the same, but he never did it himself. He gave the order. He said, go ahead. And that's it. They took us out for interrogation. He is there and gives orders. Well, you could say he was the deputy head of the detention center. His job to give orders if something wasn't the way he wanted, you could say. Something wrong, that's it. No food, there was a cell nearby. The guys didn't eat for 5 days. They didn't eat for 5 days.
For what?
For the fact that there were 3 civilians. I don't know who the 4th was. And one of them just said, well, I don't know, I'm a civilian. And supposedly, well, I understood that someone from their camera, that 4th one, he said something, what he should not.
Like he didn't snitch?
Well, yes, and he didn't tell them. So for that case, until you won't talk, you won't eat. And so they didn't eat for 5 days.
What about Ruslanchik?
Well, generally, he's a redhead jerk. He actually might be a Belarusian. First of all, he is a very stupid person. Very. And well, thanks to him, we probably had a lot of information. We could track their movements, inspections that are about to arrive, or a shuffle of special forces, or a group of new prisoners. We could only find out this from him because he couldn't keep his mouth shut at all, not a single word. He was always hanging out with the regular prisoners. That is, there were 13 people, Russian regular prisoners, who were cleaning the barrack and cooking food. He used to spend time with them. during meal distribution. He'd always chat la 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 la, and he didn't get it. I mean, while the others understood that they can't talk freely in the hall, this guy didn't understand a thing, and he could say everything there. Some guards would talk in hall for some purpose, but not Ruslanchik. No, he's just dumb.
But he did the torture stuff.
He really tormented us. He liked it. Sometimes he was the one who would watch us through the camera. When you stand for 16 hours, no chance to do it right strict, because you need slight moves. So he sees it through the camera. Then the feeder in the door opens. You have to get down on your knees. And he took a key, I don't know, like a wrench, and hit your hand. And he did, well, a lot of things. The guys were just pulling out their hands, then he would hit the fingers with a stick. The same torture was made by Kotov. It happened to me as well. I had to pull my fingers. And he hit me so hard using a baton that my nails fell off. Well, it's already grown up, looking okay, but in that case, it got off completely. It was blue, broken. He hit me 5 times. And Ruslanchik did the same. But when he does something so serious that it can't be hidden, you just can't hide it. Well, if there's a bump, well, of course, no one will say that I was beaten. But when it's a cracked head and there's blood, then it's getting serious. That's when he'd start freaking out. And he was scared so much.
And why? What was supposed to happen to him?
Well, like, they explained to us that the special forces were there for our protection. What do you mean? They are beating us. What protection? According to their laws, we weren't supposed to be touched. There was we laughed so much. Well, the guy was really beaten up. It was about half a year later, and one guy was really beaten up. He couldn't handle it psychologically. Well, he was one of us. And he just started screaming in a cell for 2 persons, but he was alone there. And he started to scream, "Putin's a faggot. Putin's a little shit." Well, it's all just slogans. And Kotov was in panic. "Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth." Then he was screaming, "I'm going to kick your ass now." But the second guard showed up. He was senior of their shift. Kotov asked, what should he do with the guy? The senior replied, "Just make him shut up." Kotov said, "I'm going to kick his ass now." And senior replied, "If a single hair on his head is harmed, I'm going to kick your ass." And we heard it. We could not get it. How is that even possible? They beat us up constantly. And we witnessed this story to happen.
What could be the reason why nobody knows?
We didn't understand. It's really hard to understand them.
What was the hardest for you during this period?
Thoughts. It was hard. In general, when it was more than a year, questions appear. How could I ever go back? What's going on? When will this end? Waiting. Of course, hunger, freezing. In winter, the cold is really terrible. I didn't think that I've never been so sensitive to the cold. I bathe in an ice hole. I never felt the cold at all in winter. Here wasn't a single moment when I warmed up. Once in 2 weeks, we were taken to the shower. It's called a bathhouse. The water is freezing cold. It's either cold or boiling hot. If it's cold, we could still wash ourselves, but not with boiling water. How to do it? That's impossible. Without burning your skin. But the cold is kind of unreal. It was not hunger. That would bother me more. It was eternal cold that would never end. And I just couldn't stand it anymore. At some point, I thought that it's over. I won't be able to make it anymore.
And there was no way to warm up there?
No, the only thing I could do was push-ups. That's it. It's literally 5 minutes, more or less. But again, at that point, I was 70 kilos out of my regular weight of 110. But I'm still doing push-ups. I'm not getting the calories I need just to survive. And on top of that, I'm burning extra calories. But that was the only way to warm up. One day, I could make 1,000 push-ups, starting 30, then 40, 50. And we were playing so-called ladder with the guys. So we could do it. It could be 300 times for each.
Just to warm up.
At the very beginning, when we were we still had some muscle. We didn't do it to warm up because we were constantly standing in that blind spot and there. We were stretching a little, doing a few push-ups and sit-ups there, but then we didn't have the strength to do that anymore. And we didn't have the energy to do it. And by winter, we were doing it just to stay warm.
How do you think the Russian-Ukrainian war will end?
Ukraine's victory. That's the only way. Hard to say, but I don't think I could accept any other outcome, calling like that all of Russia, because I've come to the conclusion that there are no decent people there. There just aren't. Maybe there are some somewhere, but they say, I'm against the war. But as many of our bloggers rightly say, what are you doing against the war? Nothing? Then you're supporting it. They must be punished to the fullest extent, maximum, for the destruction. Just of Mariupol itself. For me, and it is crucial as it is my native place. This is the most painful topic I saw. Everything that happened there. There was one moment when I was interrogated, and one Russian asks me, "Oh, but that's exactly what happened there. It was your artillery that killed people." There's the drama theater right there. There were 750 people from the left bank. 70 of them were children. You did it. I responded, "No, it was an aerial bomb. It's yours. And you want to say that this was Russian bomb?" Yes, it was Russian. I knew that I would be punished for this. But he stood up and said, "Just go away." Because he knew it was true. They understand that they're the ones who destroyed Mariupol. With the airstrikes there was simply nowhere to hide from it. Everyone tried taking cover in the bunkers on the factory grounds, but they were also destroyed. Russian used 500 kilos bombs to shell the city. The craters were huge, oh my.
Thank you for taking the time, for coming and telling your story. One day, for sure, Russians will receive a bill to pay. I'm somehow certain of that. Yes, they actually are about to make another mistake, and at least it looks so. They talk on invasion to the European countries, and if that happens, it will be suicide for them. Best solution is to divide this territory into smaller areas that will be less dangerous for the world.